And it came to be one day that Jonathan, son of Shaul, said to the young man who bore his armor, "Come, and let us go over to the outpost on the other side." But he did not inform his father. And Shaul remained at the outskirts of Geba, under a pomegranate tree at Migron. And the people who were with him were about 600 men. And Ahiah, son of Ahitub, Ichabod's brother, son of Pinehas, son of Eli, the Cohen of Yahweh in Shiloh, was wearing a shorter garment. And the people did not know that Jonathan had gone. And they smote the Pelethites that day, from Michmash to Ayalon. So the people were very weary. And between the passes which Jonathan sought to go over to the outposts of the Pelethites, there was an edge of a rock on one side, and the edge of a rock on the other side. And the name of the one was Bozez, and the name of the other, Saneh. The one edge was north opposite of Michmash, and the other on the south opposite Geba. And Jonathan said to the young man who bore his armor, "Come and let us go over to the outposts of these uncircumcised. If so be, Yahweh works for us. For there is no hindrance for Yahweh to save by many or by few." And his armor bearer said to him, "Do all that is in your heart. Incline yourself. See, I am with you according to your heart." And Jonathan said, "See, we are passing over to the men and show ourselves to them. If they say this to us, 'Wait until we come to you,' then we shall stand in our place and not go up to them. But if they say, 'Come up to us,' then we shall go up, for Yahweh has given them into our hand, and this is the sign to us." And both of them disclosed themselves to the outposts of the Pelethites. And the Pelethites said, "See, the Ibrim are coming out of the holes where they have hidden." And the men of the outpost called to Jonathan and his armor bearer, and said, "Come up to us, and let us teach you a lesson." Then Jonathan said to his armor bearer, "Come up after me, for Yahweh has given them into the hand of Yisrael." And Jonathan climbed up on his hands and knees, with his armor bearer behind him, and they fell before Jonathan, and his armor bearer was putting them to death behind him. And that first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men, and about half a yoke furrow-wed filled. And there was a trembling in the camp, in the field, and among all the people. The outposts and the raiders also trembled, and the ground shook, and it became a trembling of Olahiah. And the watchmen of Shaul and Geba of Benjamin looked and saw the crowd melting away, and they went here and there. And Shaul said to the people who were with him, "Please inspect and see who has gone from us." So they inspected and saw that Jonathan and his armor bearer were missing. And Shaul said to Ahiah, "Bring the ark of Elohim here," for the ark of Elohim was with the children of Yisrael on that day. And it came to be, while Shaul talked to the Cohen, that the noise which was in the camp of the Pelethites went on, and became great. So Shaul said to the Cohen, "Withdraw your hand." And Shaul was called, and all the people who were with him. And they went up to the battle, and saw every man's sword was against his neighbor, a very great confusion. And the Ibrim who were with the Pelethites before that time, who went up with them into the camp, turned round, they too, to be with Yisrael, who were with Shaul and Jonathan. And all the men of Israel who had hidden in the mountains of Ephraim heard that the Pelethites fled, and they also pursued them in the battle. Thus Yahweh saved Yisrael on that day, and the battle passed over to Beth-Awen. And the men of Israel were distressed that day, for Shaul had placed the people under oath, saying, "Cursed be the man who eats food until evening, and I have taken revenge on my enemies." Therefore none of the people tasted food. And all the land came into the woods, and there was honey on the ground. And the people came into the woods, and saw the honey dripping, but no one put his hand to his mouth, for the people revered the oath. But Jonathan had not heard that his father had taken the oath of the people. And he stretched out the end of the rod that was in his hand, and dipped it in a honeycomb, and put his hand to his mouth, and his eyes lit up. Then one of the people said, "Your father strictly took an oath of the people, saying, 'Cursed be the man who eats food today.' And the people were weary, And Jonathan said, My father has troubled the land. Now see how my eyes lit up when I tasted a little of this honey? How much better if the people had well eaten today of the spoil of their enemies, which they found. For then would not the smiting among the Pelethites have been greater? And the people pounced on the spoil, and took sheep and cattle and calves, and slaughtered them on the ground. And the people ate with the blood. And they told Shaul, saying, Look, the people are sinning against Yahweh by eating with the blood. And he said, You have acted treacherously. Roll a large stone to me today. And Shaul said, Disperse among the people, and say to them, Each one bring his ox near to me, and each one his sheep, and you shall slaughter them here, and eat, and do not sin against Yahweh by eating with the blood. So every man of the people brought his ox with him that night, and slaughtered it there. And Shaul built an altar to Yahweh. It was the first altar he built to Yahweh. And Shaul said, Let us go down after the Pelethites by night, and plunder them until the morning light, and not leave a man of them. And they said, Do whatever seems good to you. But the Cohen said, Let us draw near to Elohim here. And Shaul asked Elohim, Should I go down after the Pelethites? Do you give them into the hand of Yisrael? But he did not answer him that day. And Shaul said, Come over here, all you chiefs of the people, and know and see what this sin was today. For as Yahweh lives, he saves Yisrael. Though it be in Jonathan my son, he shall certainly die. But not one among all the people answered him. And he said to all Yisrael, You be on one side, and my son Jonathan and I be on the other side. And the people said to Shaul, Do what seems good to you. Then Shaul said to Yahweh Elohim of Yisrael, Give a perfect one. And Shaul and Jonathan were taken, but the people escaped. And Shaul said, Cast between my son Jonathan and me. And Jonathan was taken. Shaul then said to Jonathan, Explain to me what you have done. And Jonathan explained to him, and said, I only tasted a little honey with the end of the rod that was in my hand. See, let me die. And Shaul answered, Elohim do so and more also, for you shall certainly die, Jonathan. But the people said to Shaul, Should Jonathan die? Who has wrought this great deliverance in Yisrael? Far be it, as Yahweh lives, let not one hair of his head fall to the ground, for he has wrought with Elohim this day. Thus the people rescued Jonathan, and he did not die. And Shaul returned from pursuing the Pelethites, and the Pelethites went to their own place. And Shaul took the reign over Yisrael, and fought against all his enemies round about, against Moab, and against the children of Ammon, and against Edom, and against the sovereign of Zobah, and against the Pelethites. And wherever he turned, he caused trouble. And he gathered an army, and smote the Amalekites, and delivered Yisrael from the hands of those who plundered them. And the sons of Shaul were Jonathan, and Yishwi, and Malchishua. And the names of his 2 daughters were these: the name of the firstborn, Merab, and the name of the younger, Michal. And the name of Shaul's wife was Ahabnoam, the daughter of Ahammaatz. And the name of the commander of his army was Abner, son of Ner, uncle of Shaul. And Kish was the father of Shaul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. And there was fierce fighting against the Pelethites all the days of Shaul. And when Shaul saw any mighty man or any brave man, he took him for himself.